Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Ian. Welcome to the channel, Ian the Reader. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today, I have an extremely exciting video for you all. I have my October TBR. You guys, I am in such a spooky season mood. It is insane. Like, you're not prepared for my September wrap up because I've just been like slamming horror books like crazy, like one after another after another after another. And so that's basically the plan for October, is spooky central. We're gonna be doing horror books, we're gonna be doing thriller books, we're gonna be doing spooky stuff all month long. And the best part is I am a team captain for the Dark Tower Readathon being hosted by Jake the Bookish Drummer and Stacy the Chapter Conundrum. This is going to be such a fun readathon. You don't have to read Dark Tower books to participate. It's just Dark Tower themed prompts, and you guys, the prompts are so fun. It's going to be a blast. You should totally join. I will leave a link down below to the Bookish Drummer Discord where you can sign up for this readathon. It's going to be a blast. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss out. I did also want to mention that not only is the Dark Tower Readathon going on in the month of October, but also the Stephen King book club that I am doing with Jake over the Bookish Drummer starts in October as well. Our first book is going to be Under the Dome. Very excited about this one. It is a chunker, but it fits with the readathon, so very excited about this one. You should totally join our book club as well if you want to read some good Stephen King books. Here's hoping you do, because I want to talk to people about this book. You should join. Do it. But like I said, I have so many spooky books I'm going to be reading. We're going to be going through this TBR by all of the prompts in the readathon because it is a 19 prompt readathon, and I have so many fun books excited, you guys. So without any further ado, let's jump in. Prompt number one is All Things Serve the Beam, which means a free book or a mood read book. So this is perfect because I have so many other books planned in this readathon that have to be read for specific prompts. I'm so glad we have one that is just like a mood read. So I may read another horror book here. I've got a few on my radar that I'm really interested in, like Gothic, Sleep Tight, or The Eyes of the Best Part. Those are the three that are really on my mind for this if I want another horror book. But if I don't, I may read a fantasy or a romance or a contemporary book. Who knows? I'm just going to use this for whatever I need to as a palate cleanser. Prompt number two is The Wastelands, a spooky book. So for this one, I'm going to be reading Desperation by Stephen King. In addition to Under the Dome, I'm also doing a buddy read of Desperation and the Regulators over on the Bookish Drummer Discord, so you can join that if you want to as well. Not a part of our actual Stephen King book club, but some other books that I am planning on reading by Stephen King this month. Prompt number three is The Drawing of the Three, a book in a trilogy. So, a little spoiler for my September wrap-up, I am reading the first book in the, what's it called? Oh my gosh, The Clown in the Cornfield series. That's what it is. The first book being called Clown in the Cornfield. And so for this, I'm going to be reading book 2 in that series, and book 3 may show up here in a minute as well. Prompt number four is Wizard and Glass, a book with a magic user, wizard, witch, etc., etc. So for this one, I may do a little bit of mood reading as well, but the book that is most on my radar is called Soul Fraud. It is the first book in the Debt Collection series by Andrew Givler. I've been really interested in starting this series. It's an urban fantasy. It has such a fun concept. You've got a guy who basically gets propositioned by a demon to sell him his soul in exchange for 10 years of bliss here on Earth. And he says no, but the demon's like, I got a quota to me anyway, so he forges his signature and steals his soul, and it goes from there, which this just sounds wild, and I'm totally in for this book. But if not this one, there are a couple other series on my radar, possibly Dead Things. I want to say that author's name is Eric Carter, or maybe no, that's the series name. I don't know. Oh, Stephen something. I don't know. I'm terrible with author names. But yeah, possibly that as well. Could do something else. We'll see what happens. Prompt number five is Oi / Billy Bumbler, who's an animal companion in the Dark Tower series, and this prompt is a book with an animal companion. So for this one, I have We Solve Murders by Richard Osman, I think. I have been wanting to try this author for quite some time. He's the author of the Thursday Murder Club, I believe that's what it's called, that series, and I'm interested in that one, but this is the start of a new series. It just came out in September, so it's the perfect time to read it, and I'm really excited about it. So yes, this is the one I have planned for this prompt, and you see the cat on the cover, so it works out perfectly. Prompt number 6 is There Are Other Worlds Than These, and this means a book not set on Earth. So for this one, I am currently buddy reading the Bobaverse series with my brothers, so we'll be doing book 3 in the month of October. So I have been like casually enjoying this series thus far. Book 1 was pretty good, book 2 was a little bit better, and people seem to really love this series. The Goodreads scores for these are like insane, so I haven't quite gotten that level of fixation or enjoyment out of these books thus far, but hopefully book 3 is another step in the right direction, so we'll see what happens. Prompt number 7 is Jake, who is a character in the Dark Tower, but the prompt is a Jake favorite. So Jake is obviously the co-creator of this readathon and one of the hosts, so yeah, a Jake favorite. For this one, I will be reading You by Caroline Kepnes. So if you missed the video, Jake and Stacy picked 3 more books for me to read for spooky season. I have 1 left for each of them, so I will be reading You, which is Jake's final pick for me, and I'm excited about this one. I've obviously heard great things, both in regard to this book series, but also the Netflix show, so hopefully I really enjoy this one. I'm optimistic. Prompt number 8 is Quartet, a Discord group or buddy read. So for this one, I'll be reading Extreme Makeover by Dan Wells. So this is one of the books that is being hosted as a buddy read on the Book Astronomer Discord. Really excited about this one. I binged his I Am Not a Serial Killer series in July, like literally all 6 books in 1 month, and it was so much fun. So I'm really excited to try something else from him outside of that series. I don't really know anything about this book, but that's fine with me. I'm gonna go in blind and hopefully enjoy myself. Prompt number 9 is You Have Forgotten the Face of Your Father, a book featuring a dysfunctional family. So for this one, I am reading Stacy's final pick for me, which is Defending Jacob, which involves, I believe, a murder or an accidental death, and I think that the DA is the father and the son is supposedly a suspect in this murder situation, so he has to like navigate that whole situation. So very dysfunctional situation. I'm eager to read this one. I'm hopeful. It's more like a literary legal thriller kind of thing, and I haven't been known to enjoy that type of thing, so here's hoping it's good. Prompt number 10 is The World Has Moved On, a dystopian, post-apocalyptic, or cataclysmic book. So for this one, I'm planning on reading The Passage by Justin Cronin. It is quite long though. I know with this readathon, you get more points for your team on page like value. So the longer book you read, the more points you get. So I may end up doing this. It just kind of depends, because obviously I have to read 19 books for this thing. I mean, I don't have to. You can choose to just go like the page number route, but I'm a completionist and I feel like I have to complete every prompt. So I will probably read The Passage, but if I'm getting towards like the end of the readathon and I haven't read it yet, I may just squeeze something else in there. I don't know what. Maybe like a short zombie book or something like that. But The Passage is my plan for this one, despite it being like so long. Prompt number 11 is Eddie, who is another character in the Dark Tower series, and this one is a book featuring a brotherhood or bromance. For this one, I'm going to be reading The Fisherman. This is a horror book that has been on my radar for quite some time, and apparently we have 2 like older men who are drawn together and end up becoming buds, fishermen together, and it's a horror novel. I've heard good things about it. I really dig the cover. Such like a classic like cover looking thing that you wouldn't expect to be like a horror novel, but it is, so I'm down for that. Yeah, I've heard good things, so hopefully I end up enjoying this one. Prompt number 12 is The Wind Through the Keyhole, a short story or novella collection. Another buddy read going on in the Book Astronomer Discord is for the Ray Bradbury Book Club, and for October reading The October Country, which is a short story collection, so it works out perfectly. I'm excited about this. I want to read more Ray Bradbury, and what better time to read The October Country than in October. Prompt number 13 is Randall Flagg, another character, one of the villains in the Dark Tower series. And this prompt is a book that's part of a larger universe. So some examples are like the Cosmere books by Brandon Sanderson, or the Dark Tower books, not just like the main 7, but also the other books that are connected to the Dark Tower. And for this one, I am planning on reading The Regulators, also by Stephen King. So obviously The Regulators is connected to Desperation. I say it's by Stephen King. It was written under his pseudonym Richard Bachman, but it is tied to Desperation. But additionally, there are some ties to the Dark Tower as well, so it works out perfectly. Really excited about this one. Prompt number 14 is The Dark Tower, an author's magnum opus, or their most popular work. So for this one, I am planning on reading The Exorcist. So obviously this is quite the renowned movie, but additionally it is quite a popular book as well. And I've been actually seeing quite a bit of it on Book Talk especially, so I'm quite eager to read this one. I know that the author has written other horror novels, but obviously The Exorcist is his most popular work, so very excited to read this one. It's a horror classic and one that I definitely feel that as a horror fan I should have read by now. Prompt number, what are we on? 15, Roland / the Gunslinger, a book with a main character that's either an anti-hero or morally gray. And for this one, I'm planning on reading the third Clown in the Cornfield series, so I didn't necessarily know that was the case with this, that there was like an anti-hero, but based on the description of the third book that I heard in a video, there's definitely kind of like some anti-hero, morally gray stuff going on with this book, so I'm down for that. Hopefully I enjoy book one. I'm planning on reading it like in the next couple of days, so if not, then I may have to change up my TBR drastically, but I think I will enjoy it, so we'll see if I end up binging this whole trilogy. Prompt number 16 is Song of Susanna, a book that somehow relates to music. So for this one, I'll be reading Schrader's Chord, which is a horror novel that came out last year that I was really intrigued by and got quite good reviews. I don't really know a whole lot about it, other than that music is involved. So I hope I love it. Prompt number 17 is The Crimson King, a book featuring corrupt royalty or leadership. So for this one, I'm planning on reading The Last Housewife. This is a thriller that I believe revolves around like a cult, and there's like a cult leader that obviously is very corrupt and not a good person. So I figured it was the perfect book for this prompt, and hopefully I enjoy it. This will be my first Ashley Winstead book. There are a couple others that are definitely on my radar by this author though, so if I enjoy this one, I may end up squeezing in another by this author, who knows. Prompt number 18 is Wolves of the Kala, a book featuring a kidnapping. So for this one, I'm planning on reading Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. This will be my first Karen Slaughter standalone novel. I've read all of her Grant County series now and all of her Will Trent series now, which is like 18 books. So I've read a lot of her stuff, but none of her standalones, which I think are actually her most popular. At least Pretty Girls and The Good Daughter, I believe, are quite popular. So I'm excited about this one. I've been told that it's quite gruesome, which, having read her other series, I'm not surprised, but I'm planning on reading this one, and hopefully I enjoy my first foray into Karen Slaughter standalones. Prompt number 19, the final prompt, which, if you know anything about the Dark Tower, 19 is quite the important number in the series, is Long Days and Pleasant Nights, a long Stephen King book. So there are specific page requirements for this. I believe it has to be over 700 pages. And again, like, you don't have to do all the prompts. You can get points however you choose to, just by completing some prompts or by page number and all that jazz. There's quite a few different ways to get points in this readathon. I will leave a link down below to Jake and Stacy's video talking about all the rules and everything, just because I feel like they do a much better job of explaining it than I would. But yes, that aside, prompt number 19 is to read a long Stephen King book. And so for this one, I will be reading Under the Dome, which again is the first book in the Stephen King book club that I am co-hosting. So yeah, very excited about this one. I have been wanting to read Under the Dome for quite a long time. It's actually on my 30 books to read before I turn 30, the only Stephen King book that I put on that list, and it's been on there for a few years, so time to finally check that box. And that is all. Those are all 19 books that I am planning on reading in the month of October. I have been on a streak of just knocking out a bunch of books lately, so I think I can do this. And I've been totally down for horror stuff lately. I've literally read like 10 horror books this month. It's insane. And I have a lot more planned for October. I may get burnt out on it, even though it is spooky season and I'm loving it. I may need a little bit more of some palate cleansers thrown in there, so we'll see if this TBR ends up sticking. I don't know. I think it will. I'm really enjoying the stuff that I'm reading right now, and just thrillers, mystery, suspense, horror is just the vibe. It is working for me right now, so I'm planning on reading these books, but we'll see. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books and if you think I will enjoy them or if you enjoyed them, and totally join this readathon. It's going to be such a blast, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!